Okay, I'm gonna interrupt your bill signing. So we'll call the meeting to order. To the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, would you do the roll call?
Councilman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Allen. Here. Councilman Paddock.
Here.
Councilman Cesar. Supervisor Davis.
Here. First, I'd ask for a motion. Town of Rochester Town Board accepts the agenda as prepared by the town supervisor, and there's no additions.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. First thing is Justice Court audit. I'll turn it over to Aaron and Charlotte. I didn't see anything that I had concerns of. Anybody
Yeah, I
else?
think we presented it at the last meeting. If there was anything anyone wanted us to change before we submit, we can discuss that now.
And we did finally get our November and December bills from the comptroller's office. They're actually in the audit.
Okay.
Finally. I don't know why they were so late. They were. So with that, then I'd ask for a motion. Town of Rochester Town Board authorizes the town supervisor to send a copy of the audit of the Justice Court records for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2022 to the State of New York Unified Court System.
I'll make that motion. Also,
Figured you guys should make the motion. Any discussion?
I just on the record, I want to thank Leanne Warren for being our diligent go-to record retriever while we did this audit.
Great. And did you email this?
I
or
did, but I can
You just re-email
forward
it to
you,
me
yeah.
tomorrow. And all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, next, I wanted to circle back to the courthouse water system. Councilman Coleman had mentioned that he thought the price was a little high, and I went back and talked to them and reminded me that we have to follow prevailing wage. I also went back and looked at what we paid when we installed the water system in here, and it was $8,300. So we could go out and get additional quotes, but I just wanted to, since I got that answer, wanted to just present it again to say, do we want to consider hiring the same contractor who's doing all the other work at the price that they offered? I don't have that original sheet with me. Maybe one of you guys does. So, when I asked him, he even said the same thing. He said, yeah, it does look a little high. And he came back to me and he said, it's prevailing wage is why it's that high. And I said, well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you know, I questioned that too.
Yeah.
What did we pay for our water system? We just did one at my house, and my husband was like, well, this much. He was like, but aren't you guys municipal? No, you do prevailing wage. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
maybe
and that
that's why. it has to
adds
be.
probably at least a third.
Yeah, the only other question I would have is the current system working? Because I thought you said something about filtering sulfur issues and changing.
There have been a lot of issues, and we spent over $2,000 last year in repairs and filter issues, and with just on Culligan alone, and I can't tell you how many filters we put in that system. And Tim seems to believe that this new system will solve a lot of problems.
You know, the system is.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was 8,600 with the quote on here for it.
Yeah, because like
Can I borrow
like,
that so I can read the language?
like I said, you know, we've talked to a lot of water guys. We've had to tweak our system a lot. So I know with sulfur, I don't know how hard it is. There's lots of different.
He did say he believes the valve that is in there is the wrong type of valve for what we're trying to accomplish. And
Okay.
he's proposing changing that to something that will accomplish more. He believes it will solve our problem. And he did offer to utilize as much of the existing equipment but then I brought up to him, would it void the warranty of the new system? He's gonna explore that. So things like the pump, it's still a fine working pump. If he can utilize that, he will. So this will be a maximum. It could be less than. So I just wanted, before I did start going out and getting other quotes, I wanted to just bring that back.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are okay, then I'm gonna make a motion that town board accepts the change order from M&T Advanced Construction Solutions, 2767 Locust Turnpike, Accord, New York, for the water system upgrade in the amount of $8,600. And it will be upgraded to meet the public health code upgrade. Any further discussion?
I still think it's worth getting. Unless, is it a water person that they're subbing out?
They're subbing out to a plumber.
Okay. Yeah, as long as it's just because I know there's somebody.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing the work themselves. They're subbing out to them. But my feeling is keeping one contractor rather than bringing in additional contractors that are kind of working counter to each other.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, as long as it's somebody who knows water treatment, because
Absolutely.
I know it can be, everybody has a different opinion. You just want somebody.
But I don't think we're gonna get my point is, I don't think we're gonna get a cheaper price.
Yes. No, that's fair.
So,
Okay.
any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay, I will let him know. Thank you, Charlotte. Next, moving on to subdivision. So what I brought was, I emailed all of you a copy of Rhinebeck's Conservation Subdivision Code, and I looked at it pretty thoroughly and carefully, and it was recommended by the people that took that class that the DEC had. And
Which I got through most of, but I didn't get to the meat, because that was
and quite frankly, I think it's a pretty good starting point. It's in the same vein as what we were talking about. This does not say, though, that the parcel has to be its own parcel, but it does put in, it outlines all the possibilities of how it can be done and then tells exactly how it needs to be done in those situations. So our law doesn't do that right. That's a definite. We could try to take the finer points of this and make our law work, or we could take their law and just, as I like to say, Rochesterize it and decide. So, plus Mary Lou, and I'm gonna let Mary Lou talk about this. Mary Lou looked at the changes we made, which I did not print out to you, but I think I emailed them out to everybody, about the prime farmland. So why don't you say your
Okay.
concerns, Mary Lou, and then I'm gonna try to pull it up. I can pull it up on the screen. Maybe.
Okay, so my concern, I think it's great that we have the definition of prime farmland in there. That was a real key to this section 212512. However, we still have in there that no more than 20% of the required minimum lot area in a subdivision for any lot in all zoning districts may be of land which contains prime farmland soils is mapped and defined by USDA. So I just am not sure what that does for our parcels. And I know we have several very large tracts of land that are being farmed right now. If we can't have any more than 20% of a lot be prime farmland, what does that affect? I don't know if some of these large parcels are half prime farmland, totally prime farmland, and you may be boxing a farmer into only being able to sell it as a farm.
So we were saying only prime, because there's prime farmland if drained, and we were not counting that. We're only
No,
counting.
no, I understand that, but I don't know what effect, and maybe you guys looked at this last week, I'm not sure. I don't know how that affects actual farms. I don't know if we have farms that are really made up, we have a lot of good land.
We-
That's why
we-
we have a lot of farms, but I don't know if those farms that we have right now, what percentage is prime farmland?
Right. Well, that's part of what we're trying to do, though. We're trying to save that farmland as farmland and not allow it to be subdivided up. So our
Well, that's
feeling
the question. Mhm.
So our feeling was that we, by doing that, we're still saying 20% of it can be, it can't be more than 20% on a parcel. So our feeling was that we were covering the situation because, quite frankly, we're not looking for farmland to be able to be subdivided and cut up into smaller pieces.
Okay, I don't think it's written that way. There's, I think maybe we want to say that they must reserve at least 20% of the farmland per parcel, because this says that no more than 20% of the required minimum lot area can lie within a town identified contains prime farmland. So if you have a lot that is 50% prime farmland,
You can't
it may-
subdivide.
right, so is that what you want to do? You can have it as a conservation subdivision, and then that conservation land could still be farmed. But I just want to make sure the effect of what you want is to say,
I think
if
that
you have
was.
really good farmland, you have no choice.
I think
You
that's
may be
what we.
locking- So you may be locking people into farming forever, even if they don't want to.
Well, I think that was the intention, is that they would. It would remain farmland, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Aaron.
I've had a couple of thoughts about this as well. And yes, the intent is to not break up the prime farm soils, which are class 1 and
Mhm.
some class 2 soils, which are very rare. And but we also don't know how many parcels that impacts. So we did talk about trying to figure that out, but the data is not necessarily as straightforward as we would like. The second thing I was thinking of is, well, you can get a waiver from this standard. So one thing I thought of is, like, some farmers want to subdivide farmland off to sell to a farmer. And we would want them to be able to subdivide a 50-acre parcel that's prime farmland if they wanted to do that. And that would be a case where they could probably get a waiver. And, but maybe that's something we should think about, because subdivision doesn't necessarily mean you're going to develop it. It might mean you're just creating more lots so someone else could.
Right, but you might be creating more lots for another farm, right?
Exactly.
But
exactly.
under this, yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
but you
know,
can't
that waiver's
get
gonna
the
depend
waiver
on-
though, Mary Lou.
Right, and whether that waiver is granted is gonna depend on who's on the board,
Right.
you know?
So I do feel like before we pass this, we should figure out what this looks like,
Right, I just want you to be aware of, and I have no idea, maybe it's not gonna affect anything, but I just want to make sure that you're aware of where it could affect different lands. And there is always, under this, I think you can still do a conservation subdivision. And in that case, you could, that conserved area could be farmland. Maybe you want to put something when you look at the conservation subdivision, maybe you want to give an extra bonus for retention of farmland.
Yeah,
Could we do it in that criteria by saying says no more than 20% of the required minimum lot area in the subdivision for any lot may be made. Now it says required minimum.
so that would be in the zoning district.
Right, so if it's a 3-acre zoning district, it's saying you can have 0.6 acres could be prime farmland per parcel.
Mhm.
Now, but if you were, are we saying that if it's an 8-acre parcel, it still remains at 0.6? We're not saying, we're saying 20% of the required minimum lot area. So if your lot is bigger, the 20% doesn't waiver,
I see, yes.
because we're saying it's the
Never-
required minimum lot area.
Says required minimum lot area may be made up of prime farmland. So that means, wait a minute,
Yeah.
so that kind of
Yeah, that's,
acts contra to what we're saying, I think. Because
Right.
if you have 100-acre lot that you want to, you want to subdivide 600 acres into,
So what if we did this solution, Mary Lou, in that item 3 or item,
5,
yeah, except it will be 4 because we got rid of.
right, yeah,
But if we added a lot that is restricted by easement for
for agricultural purposes.
or not to be built on or something like that, because even if you weren't doing it for agricultural purposes, if it was, say it was forest land or something, it still would be, the goal is to restrict it from not being
Mike,
built.
I know you're speaking because I see your lips are moving, but it is cut off on the audio.
Oh, I'm not sure why. 'Cause it
Okay,
might-
I hear you again. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
so I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I don't think we need to say restricted for agricultural use. I think we could say restricted for development or for building. Because that's when you build on it, that's when the prime soils are going to be removed, and that's the issue.
Mhm.
So maybe that's the answer of how we do that. But I also think we may, by saying it the way we did, I just realized just now that we're saying it's 20% of the minimum acreage, no matter what,
Right.
what size your lot is.
Right, so if you have 100-acre lot, you can
I
have,
think we may need to reword that
right,
to say 20% of the proposed lot.
right, because the minimum would be 0.6 acres. You could have 100-acre
Say
lot
for
that can't have more than 0.6 acres of farmland.
Right, because think of this example, say somebody's doing a 30-lot parcel. They're only allowed in an AR3 zone, their own 30-acre parcel, 30-acre parcel in an AR3 zone, they're only allowed 0.6 acres.
Right.
They
They
have to be,
can't have more than 0.6 acres of
prime
farmland in order to have a 30-acre lot.
yeah, we need to go back and.
So we need to work on a formula or something for that. Thank you. I just
I
wanted,
think we say 20% of the proposed lot size as opposed to 20% of the minimum.
Mhm,
Want to put that in as a holding place?
yeah,
You would solve the problem with defining
Yeah,
those prime soils. but-
Well,
do
we
you
did,
want to, in the conservation portion?
Oh.
No,
Matt.
they are.
hang on, Mary Lou, 1 second. Wait.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say no more than 20% of the proposed lot area in a subdivision. Is that? Yeah, proposed lot area. Okay. Instead of minimum, change minimum to proposed.
Okay, and do you want it to be that no more than that can be developed, or you can't even have the lot?
I don't know if we know that answer yet.
We don't know that
Is
answer.
it a
Okay,
each proposed new lot?
Yeah,
Yes.
because you could still have the effect of chopping it up,
Right.
and then you wouldn't actually be conserving anything.
But I think, Mary
Are we
Lou,
protecting from that?
by having the waiver ability, and the waiver is with the planning board, not with the town board.
right. Yeah, that's what I said before. So that, when I said board, I meant planning board.
Okay.
Let me
But they would
just-
still have to have, I think we do add some language though in the number 5 that's saying if the proposed lot,
I almost wonder if this could be 2 sections,
Yeah.
because we're doing 2 different things. One
Right,
you're
do an
trying to
A for all those other things, and
Yeah.
then do a B that describes what happened
well,
with the
what this
prime.
whole section is intending to do, the whole section is to preserve the land that we think should be preserved. This is not anything to do with conservation stuff.
Yes and
No, but, right.
There's a whole
it can-
section that's gonna be on conservation stuff.
Right.
So,
Well, but
Right,
some
but
of it is
this-
also to prevent subdivision on difficult to develop land.
Correct.
That's why I'm saying, like, we may want a section that's for stuff that we want to preserve, and a section that's to basically guide people on where.
And you can't have these crazy slopes all over your property in order to build, because you can, if you have 20% slopes, there's still lots you can build on. You know,
Right, well, we're not saying you can't build on these, though, we're just saying you can't subdivide smaller than this.
So
So,
we may want to do things differently to preserve land than we would to restrict subdivision difficult properties.
right,
Like Go ahead, Mary.
yeah, I see what you're saying, having a section A for the steep slopes, et cetera, and then have a section B that goes just to agricultural lands that we want to preserve, because we want to preserve them.
Right.
we can do that. I'm gonna pull the prime farmland section out of here for the moment.
Like maybe if a parcel,
And I'm gonna make it a section B, just as a placeholder.
like maybe if a parcel is greater than X% prime farmland, you can only do it as a conservation subdivision, something like that.
So what I'm doing is copying the beginning of A.
Yeah, keep the farmland intact, you can still develop it.
If it meets conservation, which is 10.
So right now it says, we'll have to come up with the percentage. So right now it says no more than 20% of the proposed lot area to subdivision for any lot in all zoning districts may be made up of land which contains prime farmland soils as mapped and defined by the New York State Department, United States Department of Agriculture. So we're gonna have to, do we want to up that to 40%?
That's what I was thinking, somewhere around 40.
I think we may want to workshop that. We can do that, but I think we also want to think about, is there a different way we want to preserve the farm?
I don't think so, because the soil is the defining thing. Because the marginal soils could be farmland, but like the prime farmland of Drain and the farmland of statewide importance. Prime farmland is, once it's gone, it's almost impossible to replace. And I think we need to respect the prime farmland by making it a little bit harder to subdivide in those lands.
Yeah, well, I think what we were talking about was, and maybe we just require, after you have a certain percentage of prime farmland, that you have to do a conservation subdivision. You can still get value out of
Oh,
subdividing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what we were.
Right, and that's in there, Michael, already in the introductory paragraph of 125.12, I believe,
well, we did say
except applications
applications made
made
under
under conservation.
conservation subdivision.
But we're
But
not
we
requiring it.
can require conservation. I took that training. We can require
took it.
conservation subdivision under certain circumstances, so we could do that here.
We could say land
Well-
containing X percentage of prime farmland
Of over this number.
of over X number of acres.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, because if it's a 1 acre parcel and it's a half an acre of prime
that's
farmland,
not a cost.
it's not really, it doesn't qualify as a conservation subdivision. And B, that half acre of prime farmland may not, it may be a little deposit here or there, but is it worthwhile saving?
Yeah, so
We
for
don't know.
parcels greater than 20 acres,
Yeah.
50% prime farmland, conservation subdivision is required.
Why don't, when we do
Well, if
this,
you just say you can't subdivide it, then they can automatically do a conservation easement. I'm sorry, a conservation subdivision,
what,
because the
what-
introductory paragraph says except for
yeah.
conservation subdivisions.
Well, rather than us guessing, why don't, when we do the Saturday workshop, in between now and then, I'm gonna try to go through and find where the prime farmland of large deposits is and try to identify that.
If we do this, we won't.
Yeah, have a good idea of just what you're
Would
talking
you
about.
share it?
If we do this, we won't need those zoning,
Which,
like, the bigger ones.
the A10,
Yeah.
we'll still need the
Yeah,
BL10.
yeah.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, this could be a good,
It may be a better
Yeah.
saving than just randomly making zoning
Yeah.
districts 10 acres.
and preserve the development value.
Okay, so I made that placeholder for now. It's a part B, and I'm gonna up it from 20% to 40 for now. That,
Yeah.
everybody is in agreement with that, and then we're gonna work toward figuring out where.
Yeah, I hear what Mary Lou's saying, but I also think there's value in being explicit so people
Yep.
don't,
Yeah,
they see that there's an option.
Yeah, that's fine, Michael. I don't have a problem with that. I'm okay, you're okay.
All right.
let me just save this as 3:30 before we move on. We don't lose it. Okay, how do you want to talk about conservation subdivision? You want to sort of look through Rhinebeck's, not looking at ours first and just see what we think about Rhinebeck's version? Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Mary Lou, I emailed it to you, so.
Yeah, I've got it. Just have to get the right one out here.
Just first to answer,
Um,
first to answer.
I know, but it won't be.
I mean, the intent, pretty much, I think all we would have to do is just change Rhinebeck to Rochester. It's pretty much our intent.
Was everybody at that conference?
I don't think so.
The Mike sent us a recording of the training, so I was watching that this afternoon.
Oh, okay, I went to the training. And
Yeah,
I
I
know Mike did
I went to it. I know Grasso did. I know Patrick did.
and Patrick did, yeah.
Yeah. It was the middle of the day,
They
so,
talked about, but it's recorded, so.
yeah.
Good.
And, I mean, John Lyons, full disclosure, John Lyons and Ted Fink work for the village or the town of Rhinebeck, so.
Yep.
Of course, they're gonna think that this is the best version, but I do have to say, it's pretty well done. So,
And I've never worked with Ted, but I've worked with Mike on some very big projects for different municipalities.
well,
And I have a lot of respect for him.
Ted did the Imagine Rochester
Okay, back in the day.
gathering back in 2005. That was the start of our comp plan, so. So I just wanted to sort of walk through to see if there's anything that we like say, oh no, we definitely shouldn't say this. So I think we're all okay on, I mean, obviously I would need to change the language to make Rochester, but is everybody in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think B, you just copy.
Yeah, but we should make sure that since it's referencing their comprehensive plan, that these are all line or take out the line.
Well, I'm just talking about the B by itself, not 1, 2, 3 yet, just the words in section B.
Yeah, or we could change that purposes in conformance,
Yeah.
or just say the purposes of conservation subdivision are as follows and keep.
Our
Our
town comp plan talks extensively about,
That was one of the recommendations.
Oh, yeah, but does it hit all of these? That's what
I'm only talking about the letter B right now.
okay.
We will have to review that each one does meet. And I think we can do that.
Or we could remove the town comprehensive plan from this and then accept ones that aren't necessarily.
Well, no, we can't.
We can't.
This has to match our comp plan.
It does, okay.
Yeah, we can't go the other way around. Any local law you pass about zoning or subdivision, or land use law has to match your comp plan. So if our comp plan, if it implies that it's okay, if it says it's okay, if it's contrary, you can't.
Oh, yeah, no, I assume that we wouldn't put something that's contrary to our comprehensive plan. That would be crazy.
Yeah, so we should be referencing though our comp plan. So I think we can, that's something we can do offline. I don't think we need to do that.
Mhm.
So C then. They permit it in all zoning, they say applicable zoning districts, which I don't quite know what that means, but I don't see any reason it couldn't be in all zoning districts. Does any, maybe not Hamlet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't think a hamlet would work.
Oh, we do have, don't we have some pretty large parcels?
We do have
in
some
here?
large parcels in Hamlet. Should we though say resident, I mean, in thinking, maybe we want to name the zone. I don't think we want to do conservation subdivision in business. I don't know. Do we?
I mean,
There's nothing wrong with
some of
that.
our business have large farmland.
Not.
Have we looked at all the AR3?
No, it's AB3, a lot of it, which is the
Yeah.
front part.
And it's not just farmland you're looking at open space in general.
The only one I can think of is the I zone. You wouldn't want a conservation subdivision in the I zone because we don't want
Yeah, we don't want
residential.
people,
You don't want residential in the I zone. So no, I don't think you want to do it in the NR, the natural resources.
Why not?
Wouldn't that be a good place? Oh, no.
I mean, if it's been reclaimed.
it
if
doesn't
it-
have to be residential.
Right. I think I is probably the only place we don't want. So all other districts except I. And if we get into this exercise and we go, oh, this isn't working out, we can bail on it, but it just seems like a good starting point. And I'm happy to copy somebody else's work. Mary Lou's copying ours for Rosendale. Full disclosure.
Not just yours, but we're using a lot of yours. Or considering a lot of yours.
Actually, they talk about conserving large farmer conservancy lots to small hamlet size lots. So I think we just take the last part after districts out, obviously, where they talk about
Village.
Village of Rhinebeck and Hamlet of Rhine Cliff. Unless we want to make our own example. I think we just take that out. So the authorization,
Where are you taking out?
everything after the word districts, the second to last line, starting with the word which have been designated for development, just removing everything else after that.
Do we use this language of mixed use priority growth districts and all?
Absolutely. Absolutely, we do. So the authorization, we'll have to change the section. It's interesting, their zoning code happens to be 125 and our subdivision code is 125. So obviously we need to fix that.
I'm sorry, I'm still on this last line. So we have, we have areas where we wouldn't want to do conservation subdivision, like what are our priority growth districts and are those zoning districts that we shouldn't allow it then? If we're saying it's not appropriate, it says it's not appropriate in the priority growth district.
Well, for example,
That's Hamlet.
for the potential, the Hamlet discussion. Okay, so the potential of the Hamlet is basically based on how many undeveloped parcels you have and how large they are. So we might say like the Hamlet, it would work against a growth plan for the Hamlet if we did a conservation subdivision for a 40-acre parcel and preserved 30 of the acres. Then you would have 30 acres that might be a priority for growth and development that should maybe you wouldn't want to do that there.
But this is the generalized, just mission statement kind of thing.
Okay.
Because
So,
it's an opt-in, like anybody could put.
so we're saying it's appropriate throughout the town except for the mixed use and other priority growth districts. We're not, they can still apply, but the property, you know, it might be a small property, it might only be a 6 or 7 acre parcel, in which case.
I guess I'm asking, what does the sentence do? Like, why not just take the whole sentence down? Like, does it help us in any way having it?
I think it does, because it's kind of saying that not all the Hamlet district is
It's
okay.
not always the thing that would be the best thing to do, especially
Seems
if
like
you're.
extra work in the code. If there's no excuse to it, so why have
This is the beginning is setting the picture of why we're doing it. So we're saying it's
Back to the
appropriate,
matchbook thing, so that's fine.
we're
Well-
saying it's appropriate through the town except for these areas. So I think it is important. to say.
Basically, what we're saying, I think it's important, because up until now, all we've said is conservation subdivision is the best thing ever in the entire town. We're including one sentence where we're like, except where you wouldn't want to have conservation
Except for some
subdivision.
areas that we're not gonna go.
Right.
Where are those areas? Okay.
It
We're
also
not
might
answering that right
protect-
now.
It also might.
We're trying to get
protect-
to the end of the book before we got into.
It also might protect the applicant, required to do a conservation subdivision option, because the planning board can ask any applicant to present a conservation subdivision plan. So it might also protect a little bit.
That's reasonable.
And bear in mind, this is first pass, you know, we're gonna wordsmith this some more.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I think we want to get to the end before we start worrying about every specific word. I think this pass is more just what do we like, what do we not like? So we're the authorization, we're giving the planning board the ability to modify the lot area, frontage, and other requirements, and the highway specifications in consultation with the superintendent of highways, subject to the standards. Now, I think we should take out everything, though, the conventional subdivision requires the issuance of a special use permit. We don't do that.
Right, yeah.
So I think we take everything out from that beginning of that sentence, of conventional subdivision. Do we want to have them have a pre-application conference? I don't think it's a bad idea.
I was gonna say,
I think it's a very good idea for figuring out which places should be conserved.
And they're also encouraged to meet simultaneously with the land trust.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that they emphasized in this training, I know Mary Lou, you on it, was get the land trust involved early.
Right.
Because they know what they want and they can help shape the process.
Right, like you shouldn't, sometimes the way you are protecting that land changes what you might want to require upfront. So it's better to get that.
And at the end of the day, if you haven't involved them, the end product might be something that they look at and say, well, we don't want this. So then it kind of defeats the purpose. So I think 2 is okay as written. Except we should probably, instead of saying deposit, make an escrow. Deposit. So in 3, instead of saying the planning board may deny a special use permit, we just say the planning board may require conservation subdivision. So we're gonna delete deny through the word add. And gee, look at this. It kind of fits what we were just talking about. Steep slopes.
Yeah.
Of 50% or greater on 25% more of the property. Maybe we want to up our percentage to 25 instead of 20.
I thought we did do 25.
Yeah.
Well, we have the steep slopes, but I'm saying this is 25% of the total property.
Sorry.
We're still at 20,
Ah,
the total.
Don't make that up.
Water resources, wetlands, wetland buffers, municipal water supply, watershed, stream corridors and flood prone areas. So I think we take out of the, we end at flood prone areas and take out as shown on the water resource protection overlay district map. Because we don't have that. Agricultural lands, farmland within the New York State with 500 feet of. So is that okay, Aaron, the groups 1 through 3, that's prime farmland?
That is, well, this is saying, I mean, that is prime farmland or, yeah.
That you also have New York State soil classification.
Yeah.
system. We have ag.
It might be that. We
I
might
think we
want to
should.
match with the other.
So,
I mean, we could also go further in this section though, if we wanted to, than what we
Right.
did before.
I think this is okay as is, but we probably want to change the New York State soil classification system to USDA. Because that's who classifies prime farmland, is USDA.
Yeah, that.
I went and looked that one up
Yeah,
after last week.
yeah.
It is the USDA.
I know that it's just saying something different. Soils classified groups 1 through 3, and then it says prime farmland soils. That's like not necessarily true.
You know what?
Is what I'm sticking on.
Well, let's just say soils classified as prime farmland soils, because we're already defining it somewhere else.
Right.
So we'll take out the groups 1 through 3. And we're gonna take out the New York State classification system. We're just say soils classified as prime farm.
And this
soils.
covers all of our bases because it's saying if it's in an ag district.
This is only in a conservation system.
Yeah, but it's also, I'm
Right.
saying this does go a little bit farther, which I think is good than what we said.
And it's
before.
saying lands within 500 feet of an agricultural
Yeah.
district too.
And because just because something's in an ag district doesn't necessarily mean that it's a class 1
Yeah.
soil, but it might be like a historic farm.
And
That
then
you would wanna-
D is okay, because the 480A are the people that are getting tax lessening or valuation lessening of their properties because they're doing timber. That's the 480A. Well, that's the real property tax law. So the ones that are harvesting or processing timber that are actively doing a forest property, there you can get a relief from your valuation if Jeremy goes out and reviews your property and determines that the operation, what you're doing is to preserve the
Yeah.
forest.
But now we've changed this section so that we're requiring it. We want to require it for timber operations.
I think so. So we're saying this. These,
They may,
May.
May require?
Yeah.
Planning will, okay,
may, yeah.
yeah, okay.
So if you have a property that you are taking advantage of that 480A relief because it's your forest, it's forested property and you're utilizing it, But it has to be where active growing, harvesting and processing of timber. So there's only about 5 or 6 properties in the town.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jeremy's been taking off several that were on there from the old days that he went out. One guy said he was doing it and Jeremy went out and looked and it was a big open field with about 12 trees on it. And he was like, no, sorry, you're losing your exemption. Yeah.
He's alive.
Um,
Gotta grow them, right?
community water and or sewer, and we don't have any, but we may in the future. So I'm gonna leave it in.
I think we should.
I think we should leave the critical environmental areas. We don't have any, but we may. Now, G, I don't know. I don't think we can do it. We don't have any designated open space areas. We don't have any. We don't have an open space plan. We have one. Never
Yep,
was
there you
adopted.
go.
Although we did accept the document. So I think we should just remove all of G for the moment.
And if
If
it
we-
ever changes, you can put
If
it
we
in.
ever pass something, we can put it back in, but I think right now it's gonna call too much attention.
Yeah, and J
Too controversial.
covers like habitat area.
Yeah. So H, we're gonna have the historic, what are we calling it? Historic district overlay, Aaron?
Yes.
So such as lands within, we're gonna take out the Hudson River. Take out all their specific names and we're gonna replace it with historic district overlay zone. And then we'll keep, so basically remove the second line starting at Hudson River, all of the third line, and the word significance. Should we leave the local waterfront revitalization area? I don't think so.
You have a local waterfront revitalization?
We don't, I mean, technically the rundown could be considered that, but this is, I know theirs is all about the Hudson. 'Cause
I was gonna say, and there's actually, yeah, there's ways to create those. You haven't created one.
Why don't we just end on at the end of National Register of Historic Places? Because our historic overlay district section, it talks about a lot of those local landmarks already. I think leaving it in is gonna be too vague and it'll lead to controversy. So in I, we want to take out the lands within the waterfront revitalization area. But do we want to say lands within the Shango Mountain Scenic Byway?
Sure.
And our comprehensive plan does identify areas to protect. Very vaguely, it draws an ellipse around the Catskill Mountains and it draws an ellipse around the Shango Mountains. Still remember Dennis Doyle's comment. Pretty vague, and I was like, yep. This is what we ended up with after we got it watered down after 28 town meetings. And that may not be an exaggeration. And I like leaving any other significant feature of a community importance identified in the town planning document, because maybe the little backdoor way of sliding in some of the other stuff that we've done that are not accepted as part of the town plan. For the moment. J, That's all done by the state, right? Anybody have any issues with J as written?
I don't know what the natural heritage program. Is that like?
It's run by the DEC,
Oh,
so
okay,
it's a,
okay.
it's a state
Okay.
program. Yeah. Trees over 24 inches in diameter, that's a pretty good sized tree. So
Mhm.
Very tall for something.
that's the standard place to measure trees. I know it's different,
Yeah.
different, yeah.
I'm just curious what what the actual number for that is.
I don't think there is, but that's always been the standard of measuring the diameter of a tree. It's always been listed at
Let's see.
that site.
Oh.
It's always been listed at that site. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
I was gonna say, that's not right.
It's real.
There's not a number though. It never has been. Nope.
I'm just gonna start calling people in breast. When I have phone.
There you go.
Because you're something.
Do we want to specifically name the O&W rail trail? So under trails, I think we should.
Yeah.
So we'll say trails. So we'll start with the O&W rail trail.
How many trails do you know how many miles?
Well, there's the DEC controlled ones. The only one that other than that is, and there's state controlled
Yeah.
ones in Minnewaska, but the O&W rail trail. Actually, it's true if we
Yeah.
mention the O&W.
Do I have snowmobile trails? Trails.
Well, it says existing and potential trails, but oh, these are about pedestrians. Recreation is more the next one. Yeah, that's DEC. Yeah, maybe we should just take, maybe not list O&W separately, only because it's land we
I
particularly
think
own.
it's covered by the general statement.
Okay,
But what I am thinking as we read through this, if all of these are under an A, are there any of them that we want to break out in a separate shall section? Like if we're gonna do something with Pine Farmland. I just want to note that for people.
why don't we wait till we get through the whole document and see where it goes? Because I'm gonna be very honest, I haven't read every word of this document in depth. So,
Me neither.
yeah, so before we start getting, this is all just, the planning board can ask for this in any of these conditions. This is the overarching, the planning board says to you, you need to. What you're talking about is more of this level of detail.
Also, some of these, I don't know. If your property backs against the rail trail, do you want the planning board to have the authority to force someone to do a conservation?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I
I
mean,
mean,
this says any trail. though.
The planning
rail
board,
trail may be
the planning
different.
board has to have a valid reason for it. They can't just force it because we want this. So, but I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see any reason, any problem with that. We have a lot of issues with people's homes being so close to the rail trail, and then they don't like that things going on the rail trail. There's people in my backyard.
Yeah. That's
Well, your
true.
backyard is a rail trail. There used to be a train in your backyard.
Fair point. Okay,
So,
recreation.
uh,
We don't have.
so we'll just say town's comprehensive plan and then there. We have any what?
Do we have anyone?
Oh, absolutely.
100.
Well, it's designated in the.
Could be.
No, these are lakes plans or opportunities or sites. These aren't saying lakes and plans that have to be designated. Any lake or pond, they can.
I'm
Alright, fair
confused
enough.
by the lack of comment.
That's fair. It's bad. Look, this is like commas are.
I get it. I hear you.
I think this is lakes, comma, ponds, comma,
Right.
or other significant recreational areas or opportunities or sites designated. So it's either lakes, it's ponds, or any other recreational areas in the town's comprehensive.
That's why you need the Oxford comma.
And we're gonna add them in.
Exactly.
We always do.
It's very important.
Well, let's not wordsmith there. We'll fix it when we write ours. Believe me. I use the Google, Michael, every time I write it, I use the Google and it always makes me put the
You
Oxford
need the
commas
Oxford
in, and I
comma.
do.
Need it.
I know.
Clarity.
But
There
let's
was
not get hung up on that they don't have it. We can, the answer, Aaron, is we can make it mean whatever we want.
Yeah.
So instead of saying they're wrong, we'll just fix it to make what we want it to say. But there's nothing in there that we want to take out other than the open space and affordable housing.
I agree.
Okay. Permitted accessory and special permit uses. Open space uses. I wonder if we want to add a definition in our zoning code down the road for open space uses. It's not a bad idea.
Is this like the equivalent?
I'm not sure where you're.
Oh, I was just thinking like the equivalent of this in our code, is it the park section?
I don't think so. I think in this case, you could do a subdivision and you could say the two of the resulting lots are going to be open space. And that's the use of them.
Right. Okay.
But my point is, we never considered that. We've never defined open space as a use, and I think we need to. That's my point. Look like you're on a mission there.
Oh, I was curious.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they have it, standards for 2.6. Okay, got it. So we'll get
Okay.
there.
Others accessory and special permit uses the same as otherwise allowed in the zoning district. Fair enough. As an alternative to single family detached dwellings, single family attached and multifamily dwellings are also permitted. Yep. Provided common areas are in condominium or cooperative ownership. Yep, no problem with all that. Stop me if you disagree. So in no case shall an individual structure contain more than 4 attached dwelling units in the, and we'll have to decide what district we want that to be, if we want to keep that. My guess is their HP 20 is a 20-acre zoning district. Or more than 6 attached dwelling in. I could look at their code and see the equivalent districts for us from those,
I'm okay with that.
and we'll just figure out. Site plan approval is required for all attached or multifamily dwelling unit developments. We already require site plan already for multifamily. We don't require it for attached. But we define multifamily as greater than 2 family. So I don't think we need everything from site plan approval on, only because our code already says it in another place. Because we define multifamily as greater than 2. So
We also know how to define standard.
no, we have design guidelines.
Yeah.
Density. So you can't get more lots, you can only get smaller lots, is basically what that's saying, which I think is good. So if you could, under conventional zoning, if you could do 5 lots, you can still only do 5 lots. You can just make 4 of them smaller and 1 big one. There's a,
I mean, or the preserved lot could not be counted against the maximum number of lots if we're gonna require it.
No, it's still a lot.
No, I get that it's still a lot, but as a bonus, you know, you have to do a conservation subdivision, but
Well, we could go back and look at our code. What we do now is we give a density bonus in terms of so say you needed 1 acre zoning. If you preserve this much, we give you a 20% bonus, so now you need 0.8 acre. And if you do this much, we give you a 30% bonus, and now you need 0.7 acre. So I think the density, the way they word it is good. We could go back and look and see if ours is better.
Yeah.
And obviously, we just got to change town of Rhinebeck to town of Rochester. So I think this whole section on density, if you were to look at our arcs, you remember the number, Aaron? If that's-
No, I don't. I have it.
keep it going.
Here it is. It's 125.23. So we could compare the two, but I just feel like the Rhinebeck one lays it out better. Ours is too minimalist, our code. And it just, there's a lot of things that left open holes on, which is why we're in the situation we're in right now. And it hasn't really been tested. So the yield subdivision, that's standard of how you figure it out.
So it doesn't seem like they are offering density bonuses though. They're just saying,
They have to be offering density bonuses. Otherwise, there's no point of conservation subdivision.
yeah. It, well, what they're saying, and maybe it's just me misunderstanding.
Oh.
Our,
Oh, actually, you know what? They're saying I don't think they're setting caps on the bonuses, so they've said back earlier where the planning board, in return for conservation subdivision, go back to authorization D1. To modify lot area, width and frontage, depth, yard, access, and other requirements of this chapter. So they're saying the planning board can modify the density.
Of specific, of individual
Yeah.
parcels,
Yes.
but you can't, like, the way.
Right, but they're not letting you have extra parcels,
Yeah, so like, if you have a 50
like a
acre-
bonus density one.
Yeah.
But they're saying you can make 5 smaller lots
Right, I see.
and then 1 big for the
Right, I
remainder.
think if that's what we were trying to say, ours is the more clear.
Ours?
I know, I think theirs is more, if that's what ours is saying, then I think that this.
Ours is more defined about what the bonus is. Ours
Yeah.
is saying what the bonus is as opposed to this is letting
This
the
is
planning
saying-
board review it on a case-by-case basis.
yeah.
At
Right,
the end
but
of the day,
but the bonus is different than the bulk requirements. The bonus might say, if it's 1 acre zoning and you have 100 acres, but you do this, I don't know what this might be, you get a bonus and we're gonna let you have smaller lots, but we're gonna let you have 105 of them,
why don't
rather,
we work our way through this whole thing here? And then if there's things we really hate, we can always bring our language back in and
yeah, I think you'll wanna add that in.
but if we, I'm just wondering if we can do a pass of their
Yeah.
whole code first and then decide what we really don't like and then we
Right.
can fix it from there.
Yeah, I think that's great. I just wanted to make that note.
So the yield subdivision plan, so that's number 2 is shall show conventional lots, streets, rights of way. And then 3. So you're not, and this is the key, is you're not starting out showing potential house sites. You're drawing the lots and the house sites are the secondary. Because too often a subdivider starts with, I want a house here, I want a house here, I want a house here. And then they draw the lot lines around the houses. Whereas this method is you draw the lot lines and then you fit the houses in. So you let the land dictate the lot
Yeah,
lines as opposed
the
to.
area that you can develop and then,
And we can tweak whatever language we think is, and then you can't be further subdivided except under the following conditions. So I think 4, A, B, C, and D are fine. Is there anything? It just kind of gives examples. We'll have to read through and see if we think they're realistic. I don't want us to get too bogged down, and I just want to give this a shot to write it and fit it into our code first and then see where we go from there. So the process is the process, and I don't think that changes. So G is pretty much how it's done. The figures, because I copied it out of Eco 360, it doesn't share the pictures, but I can get the pictures and insert them. So they start with a sketch plan. That's the A and B. And then the number 1, we would just change to the information required under our code, where it is. We would want to see the 100-year floodplain limits in the wetlands. I think we want to see 3. I think we want to see 4. I think we want to see 5, 6, 7, 8. I think all the rest of that page is fine. Everybody agree with that? And then the whole next page is just more of the same. We would just take out anything that is not particular to Rochester or Dutch or Ulster County. I think that's all standard though of what we would want. Easements and other encumbrances, we definitely want them. I think L would go away. We don't have anything. None of that is pertinent to us. And then 3 is the process. I would just change the soil group thing to match our language instead. So this has primary conservation areas and secondary conservation areas, which is probably a good idea. So the images that go with this is just the process. See, here's the minimum required open space. So clearly we would need to make that match our zoning districts. But rather than getting too deep into the weeds on that now, why don't we just look at it offline and come back with some ideas later? Does that sound fair to everybody? Minimum lot width at building line, 60 feet. I think that seems okay. Minimum street or private road frontage is 40 feet. So normally we're 50 feet. So in this case, I think 40 feet because you're trying to conserve. So. And we can waive the flag lot for conservation subdivision because maybe you might need the flag lot in order to conserve the land. And I think those 10 feet front yard and 25 feet rear yard work just fine, right?
Yep.
You should, are you looking at the impervious coverage?
Yeah, we'll just have to
Ours
get,
is different.
we'll just have to get real answers on that.
Yeah.
I'll check that off. The standards for protected open space. I don't see anything in there that we wouldn't want to protect. Woodlands, natural areas, stone walls, rock outcrops, meadows.
In 3, we have to clean up the line.
Yep. So where do we start taking that out?
Very long run.
Yeah. So recreational fee is maybe imposed, such fee shall, yeah.
I would take it out, I would put it.
Why don't we just add with, as a result of the proposed subdivision and other subdivisions,
Yeah, I was gonna say ended after others.
other
After
subdivision.
Other subdivisions.
Yep, and take out all the rest.
remainder of
Yep. Agreed. To minimize land use conflicts, land use for agricultural should be buffered from residential uses by a setback of at least 200 feet. What do you think about that, Aaron? Is that too much for our town?
Well, they're putting the setback on the residential area,
Right.
so,
I think it's okay.
yeah, I think you would have to see, it might not be feasible,
Yeah.
because that's,
No, and I like 6, no portion of any house lot may be used for being the minimum required open space land unless encumbered with a conservation easement. So that's
Yeah.
solving the problem that the planning
Yeah.
board's going through right now. So if you want to say this piece of this residential lot is part of the open space, then you've got to put a conservation easement.
right,
Going back to number 4 with the active agricultural land,
Yeah,
that may be a place where you want to add bonuses in. If you want
Okay.
to encourage agricultural land, you may want to say that, they get a bonus number of units depending on the
Yeah.
acreage.
I think we might want to just look at our general bonuses that we have in the current code though, because they were pretty good.
Yep.
It wasn't just agricultural, it was also for open space too.
Yep.
So I think we can pull some of the language from the existing into this. So the building envelopes, obviously, we're just gonna need to plug in our zoning districts to match theirs and decide if those numbers will work, and I think that's something. Just come prepared on that Saturday to really roll up our sleeves and that kind of stuff. We have landscaping requirements, so I think 3 is okay. I think 4 is okay.
Mhm.
Uh, 6, we'll just have to change the language to Ulster County Agricultural District number 3. But other than that,
A, we need to change to USDA.
yeah, yeah. And I think we want to take out the soils of statewide significance.
Yeah, again, go to our prime.
Yeah, so we're just gonna use the prime farmland soils. We'll take out the class, and then the second sentence, the soils of statewide significance should be avoided by subdivision development. We're just gonna take that out. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
So we're only gonna worry about the prime farmland statewide. Doesn't mean somebody can't do it anyway, but. I think the rest are all,
So we need to either change the line
Uh,
or take it out unless we have habitat.
habitats is,
For our county.
yeah, why don't we just habitats and species of conservation concern, because that's identified by the DEC. So we'll just end right there. Or we can say, as identified by the DEC. Yep. Residential, I'm reading B now. I wonder if we want to just take B totally out. Because it says some of these guidelines may conflict with each other on a particular site. I can see a lot of cases where they're going to conflict.
Right, but it does say one will be the most important. It's an order of
Yeah.
significance.
Let's leave it for first pass then. See where it goes. Then moving on to letter K.
Two, we have to change to town of Rochester House.
Yeah. I'll do a search wherever it says Rhinebeck, change it to Rochester. I think the description though of how to do them achieves the purpose. Permanent protection of open space, so letter L. This is where we kind of get into how it's done. This is the part that actually they did really well, I think. So open space in a conservation subdivision or as a condition of any special use permit or site plan approval. I think we can leave that in there. Shall be permanently preserved by a conservation easement. So they have to do an easement. It should be perpetual. And talks about general municipal law and environmental conservation law. And this answers what Patrick was talking about, that it shall be granted to a not-for-profit conservation organization, because homeowners associations can't be.
Right,
And then it says only if there's no interest on the part of a qualified not-for-profit conservation organization to accept, the town board shall have the option of holding such easement. So we always have the option, which is okay. Because I can be very clear, I doubt the town board is going to want to take on.
You don't want to enforce that.
But what happens if there isn't?
They have to find one,
They have to find one.
which is why it's important to get them involved early.
But if we're gonna require it,
Well, we're getting up to the point where it does talk about HOAs, so let's keep reading through before let's read through the whole section. Because it does talk about HOAs too. Oh, wait, L1, conservation easements deeded to a qualified yeah, okay, that's the ones. And that's the whole process of how it's done. Letter M, ownership of open space and common facilities. I think that's fine. Mary Lou, once I insert this in, you can look at it and just tell me if we need to change anything, so.
Yep. Sounds
Um,
good.
Now, if we get to. Where does it talk about an HOA? The first place is,
M2.
yeah.
So they own it and then the not-for-profit has the oversight of the
Right.
easement.
So the the HOA continues to own it, but the not, what was your question, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay,
wondering what a red type was.
where's that word? Oh,
LD.
What are we looking at?
Nothing. Ignore me.
Well,
We'll Google it later.
okay.
What were you just saying, Mike? 'Cause, yeah, like the HOA can.
So the HOA
deed,
owns
but
holds the
easement
deed.
is for
The easement is held by the not-for-profit. So the not-for-profit doesn't own the land.
Right, they don't usually
Right.
like, to, but sometimes they will.
Right. They can,
They can.
or the HOA can hold the land, or an individual owner can hold the land.
Yep.
But what they did say in the training is that in that situation, a lot of not-for-profits don't like dealing with all these individual owners with little piece of this land, a piece of this land, a piece of this land.
this land is your land. This land is
Yeah.
my land.
I think for the most part, do we agree that it's a start?
It's a start, yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm gonna take this one and fit it in with ours and we can go from there and I'll present it back to us at our marathon meeting. So hopefully we can get it done. Okay, I didn't want to
And
spend,
If you guys have questions, before the marathon meeting, it's a date that I can't be there because I'll be fulfilling mother of the bride duties and going to hairdressers and florists and things like that. So just let me know in advance, please.
okay. So the next thing I'd like to do tonight, you guys are up for it, is I emailed you, we have all the pieces now from Granary for seeker, with the exception of we're still waiting for a letter from SHPO. They have submitted to SHPO. They have been told verbally there's likely no issues. So what I've given you is this one that I just handed out is their part one, and the other one is the blank part two. What I'd like us to do is first pass we're gonna go back to it again, but I'd like to do first pass to see if there's anything we can just cross off the list. And now, Michael and Charlotte, I don't know if you've done a part 2 seeker yet before. I don't think you have.
I think we did.
Did we have something?
last year.
Okay. So the instructions are pretty clear. So you review the information in the part 1, which is prepared by the applicant. We've got the backup. I do have new hard copies of the site plan maps if we need to reference them. But I'll leave them rolled up though unless we need them. I'm afraid if I unroll it, we'll never get back together again. So if we answer yes to a numbered question, then you go through the letters below and you answer no or small impact or moderate or large impact. If you answer no to the numbered question, you just move on. And proposed projects that would exceed the numeric threshold contained in the question should result in the reviewing checking a moderate or large impact. This is on a layman's terms. It's where it says you're not expected to be an expert in environmental analysis. It's opinion. But we are looking at the overall whole action. So we're reviewing it for the zoning change, but then the planning board is going to be reviewing it for the site plan. So we're reviewing this as if we're the town board and the planning board simultaneously, as well as Board of Health. But the Board of Health's laws are pretty cut and dry. You either get your permit or you don't get your permit. There's not much in between. So I'm going to wait till Aaron gets back. So, but only because I want to sort of keep this process moving, because once we finish seeker, if we arrive at a neg deck, which you did see from our consultant's letter that they don't feel that there are any issues that rise to the level of moderate to large, but again, it's our opinion. Then we can, once we arrive at a neg deck, then we can schedule it for public hearing. We can refer it to the county planning board, hold that public hearing. Then we can consider granting the EEO or not granting the EEO and then getting them. So I just, to be fair to them, I didn't want to keep them waiting months on end. And we're going to have a lot of work on our plates in the next few months, so.
For the police sake, since she doesn't, are we voting on anything else? Or does we need to, I feel so bad, you're just sitting there.
Only because this should go pretty quick.
Yes, okay. I
Yeah.
just wanted to-
No,
She's just-
I wanted
Talk
to
about
keep her
something
here
for
for the,
hours.
I wanted to keep her here for the RFP,
Gotcha.
the scoring. Because then it's like an impartial person in the room, but then she can go. So I did tell her I'd try within 2 hours. So
I just wanted to be sure. 'Cause I just
no,
listen to us talk about subdivisions for hours in the past.
Loved it.
well,
It's better if I can follow along.
yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I didn't try to do it. It's like 60 pages every time I
I
read.
bet.
So Aaron, we're just gonna walk through and say yes or no. So the impact on land, pros, and this is in any proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. That's a yes. The proposed action may involve construction on land where depth to water table is less than 3 feet. We can look in part 1D1 on theirs and see their answers. Page 3. I think the answer is no. Or small impact. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. May involve construction on slopes of 50% or greater. That land is pretty flat. So that's a no. Or small. Proposed action may involve construction on land where bedrock is exposed or generally within 5 feet of existing ground surface. I think that's a no or small impact. There's not any really large rock outcroppings. Massive, there are some small ones, but. Proposed action may involve the excavation and removal of more than 1,000 tons of natural material. That's a no or small impact. They're not gonna move that much.
Aren't there? We're moving a bunch of trees in the back of the parking lot in their building. And then in between the houses in there for where they need the parking lot and the water.
Yeah, but they're not,
No,
this is excavation. This is if they were digging and removing the soil and the land.
The trees.
Yeah. This is impact on land. Look, but it's not. It's not I mean, it's there, but it's not. I don't think it's substantial, is the question, really. There you go. The first one is the existing conditions here. I'll just put it down there and you guys can sort of share it between you. So there's a few places where there's some big slumps, but they're very minimal. Yeah.
That's the front of the road.
Yeah, but if you
It's in top graph.
flip it to the second map and that's showing the top one is the existing.
Retaining wall, not actual rock bed there. That's what I was thinking. That wall that's in between the two.
Oh, that's a
properties.
retaining,
I was thinking that it was actual rock there. I was trying to. picture
No,
it.
that was
Wall,
a
Man-made,
developed-
not-
man-made. Okay.
I was like, I know
Good
there's definitely a
question.
lot of stone there.
Proposed action may involve construction that continues for more than 1 year or multiple phases. Even if it does, I would say it's a small impact.
They have 24 months of still on their first part.
Yeah, but I don't think I still wouldn't classify that as to moderate to large. It will take that long, but in my opinion, it's a small impact. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. May result in increased erosion. I think that is a no or small impact. G is no, for sure. And then other impacts on land, if there's anything else we can think of that's not talked about on the land itself. And bear in mind, this is not a finished product. I just wanted to knock out whatever we could tonight, so we can do it quicker next time. So we can leave that blank until we look at it some more. Geological features. Proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique and unusual landforms on the site, cliffs, dunes, caves, minerals. I think that's a no.
I'm not from here.
Number 3, impacts on surface water. There is no surface water on the property, so that's a no. Number 4, impact on groundwater. It is gonna, they're digging a new well, so that's a yes. And we're looking at 2A, 2C, 2D. Proposed action may require new water supply wells or other additional demand. Yes, they are, but I think that's a small impact. They are drilling an additional well, but I don't.
You know what, in terms of demand, oh. I see. Okay. Additional demand on existing.
Right.
Okay.
So it is a yes, but I think it's a no or small impact. I don't think it's a significant impact.
Based on their presentation, I mean, they're being very careful with it because of the amount that they know they need to pull, even reducing. the amount
Yeah,
of
and
leaves
they did submit,
Let's say we have something from the health department on this, don't we?
yeah, we do. That's what I'm going to right now.
Yeah, they're saying 41 gallons per day.
You know what an average house is? Household? That seems like a normal number. for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's low.
That seems pretty low, actually.
Yeah.
So,
I thought that was almost what a house.
Average
is.
American family uses 300 gallons of water a day.
yeah, so I think we can say no or small impact. With-
No, 100 gallons a day.
Sorry, that's just way too low of a
Two
number.
person households, 80 to 100 gallons.
What was their number?
41
Where is that?
in the demand for water, D 2, 3, or C.
That's 100 per.
4,100.
Per day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said 41. I was like 41. Yeah. So if you're saying 300, so this is the equivalent of about 14 houses. Roughly, because if you're saying 300. So, and it's how many acres?
300 seems low, but I, you know. I'm flexible
Long
with it.
shower.
Yeah. Average, remember it's average household too.
Yeah.
Okay, I still think we can say no or small. Everybody agree to that?
Yes.
Water supply demand from the proposed action may exceed safe and sustainable withdrawal capacity rate of the local supply and aquifer. So no or small impact. May allow or result in residential uses in areas without water and sewer services. That's a no or small impact. May include or require wastewater discharge to groundwater. They are adding a wastewater system, but it has already been approved by the,
Not discharging.
no, to the leach field, so. That would be a no or small impact. May result in construction of water supply wells in locations where groundwater is or suspected to be contaminated. That is a no or small impact. May require the bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products over groundwater or an aquifer. That's a no or small impact. Okay. Impact on flooding, that is a no, they're not in the flood zone. Number 6, impact on air emissions,
No.
that's a no. Impact on plants and animals, let's look. E2, M through Q, to see. LWS?
I mean, this is what Charlotte is there.
Yeah. But the M through Q is gonna be where they identify from the environmental mapper. Page 12 of 13.
Yeah.
Birds, squirrels, raccoons, and deer. Sounds like every other town of Rochester property.
Graphics over there.
Does not have a significant natural community. And apparently nothing showed up when they looked at it from the federal government or the endangered species list. And nothing on a rare. No. Indiana bat is not what it once was anymore. They're a little far from Rosendale too. So. Do we want to say, so I think we say yes though for 7. Yeah. So A, everything is small, no or small impact? Okay, save this reading for each one. Bear in mind, we're gonna revisit this, so agricultural resources, that's a no.
The greenery.
Yeah. Talking about land.
I know.
Aesthetic resources,
Yes, and about.
yeah. I think we do say yes. Proposed action may be visible from any official designated federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic resource. You're not gonna see
I don't
it
think
from
you're
the
gonna see it.
byway, are you? That's the only one I can think of.
No, I think it's too tucked away.
Wait a minute. What about the ONW Rail Trail, though? You are gonna see it from there. But it's still a no or small impact no matter what. Considering the ONW may be going through their property. May result in the obstruction, elimination, or significant screening of one or more officially designated scenic views. That's a no. May be visible from publicly accessible vantage points. They're both no's. I think they're both no or small impact for D. Public enjoyment, appreciation of the designated aesthetic resources, no or small impact. F is a no or small impact. G would be a no or small impact. 8, 10, we're gonna skip, because that's what we're waiting for SHPO from. 11, recreation,
Also
No.
recreation.
It's gonna be no, but no.
Now it's gonna be an increase.
There won't be a loss.
yeah, so we're gonna say a no for 11.
No.
Critical environmental area is a big no. We don't have one. 13, impact on transportation. Okay, that's a yes. Proposed traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing road network. They did a study that showed us a no or smaller. I emailed, that's the one I emailed.
Yeah, but if we
you.
have to add, the suggestion is to add a 3-way stop there, how is that?
Not out of the whole
I- True, but if we have to change the road and how
Yeah.
the flow goes, how is that not a large?
But we don't have to change, we don't have to change the road.
We'll have to change the road.
You're saying, okay, you're saying
Yeah.
we're not changing the actual.
Yeah.
road,
It's not changing the capacity.
Right, we're not changing capacity. We're adding the stop sign for safety,
Follow, okay, yeah.
but it's not a changing
It's not a traffic.
the
increase.
existing road
Yeah,
network. It's a county road, which the capacity far exceeds what is on there already. And there's not 500 or more vehicles, that's for sure.
Will degrade existing transit access? No.
That's a no.
Will degrade existing pedestrian or bicycle accommodation?
That's a no, and it'll increase it actually.
But it will alter the present pattern of movement.
Yeah, but it's still, I would say it's a small impact. I mean, a moderate or large impact has got to be a really, I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be like, we suddenly turned it into a New York City street. That would be a large impact.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when we've noticed that an impact will occur, even if it's small, we've just been saying it.
Right. Okay. And then the other impacts on transportation. Why don't we write in there, addition of crosswalks. And stop signs. I think that's a smaller. Yeah. Impact on energy, they are gonna use energy, so it's a yes. It's not gonna require an increase in the substation. It's not gonna create, no, that's a no. C is probably gonna be a no or small impact.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of electricity. They're not building 100,000 square feet of building. So that's a no. Noise, odor, and light. There will be outdoor lighting, there will be noise.
And odors. Food.
True,
You're right.
true.
I'm-
Be no or small impact on the noise. Lasting within 1,500 feet of residences, that's a no. Routine odors for more than 1 hour per day, well,
Small.
small impact.
Depends what they're cooking.
Light shining onto adjoining properties, that'd be a no or small impact because we can mitigate that by requiring downward in the planning board, so.
Yeah, they have.
Sky glow brighter than existing area conditions, it will add some, but I would say that's a small impact. Impact on human health,
No.
I think that's a no.
That's more.
Consistency with community plans, I think that's a big, this is not
It's a big
consistent.
no.
It's a big no, it is not consistent. It's a double negative there. Is inconsistent with the existing community character. I think it's a no.
No, also.
Okay. So we've done it all with the exception of, thank you for your patience on that. So as soon as we hear back from SHPO.
All right.
Thank you, Mary Lou.
Good night, everybody.
Take those back. Adam.
Never mind, I said I'll roll it up.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay.
We're getting so old.
I was afraid that they had separated, because it was 3 pages each. And I was afraid I was gonna, oh, they were stapled even. Look at that. Wow. I was afraid it was gonna be 4 of the same page and then 4 of the same page. Okay, scoring. Did each of you do your homework assignment?
Yeah.
You want to give them all to Kate, and I'm gonna ask her to read me the numbers and I'll enter them in the scoring sheet.
I don't even want to go back. through
That
this.
way we don't know who is who's.
Oh, I think.
Just gave it. It's supposed to be broken down by.
Yeah, I need each category broken down.
Somebody.
There you go, not following the rules. No, I gave those, I handed you 4,
Separate scoring sheet.
yep, 1 for each one at the last meeting. Gave each board member.
I believe it.
On the sheet that you gave us, the one that was turned in, the 1 through 4 were in that order, because they weren't labeled on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured.
1 was the first one.
One was the
on
first one,
page
okay, that's what I figured, I just wanted to.
Oh, and they are on the back.
Rat heads. Who knew?
Oh, also, fun fact, a breastplate is 4.5 feet high.
There you go.
Look it up. So I'm not a breastplate.
What is a rat head? Breastplate?
So top to bottom, 1 through 4.
Yep. Kate can start reading me what we have, so. Proposal 1, board member, is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yep.
Just tell me board member number.
Board member 1.
Yep.
First is 15 points.
And this is proposal 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Second is 23 points.
Mhm.
Third is 23 points. 4th is 15 points. A total of 75.
Okay.
Board member number 4,
Mhm.
0 points. Second one is 15 points.
Mhm.
Third one is 15 points. 4th is 10 for a total of 4.
Okay.
Board member number 3, 22 points. 25 points. 23 points. 12 points. 82 points. Is your total?
Yep.
Okay. So nobody knows. I'll wait for head and then. Okay.
Mine's not the crinkled up one.
This is a thing that- I don't know.
You want to give me proposal number 2?
Proposal number 2.
Well, it's like the bird.
It's board member number 2,
Mhm.
points of 10, then 20, then 18, then 10, for a total of 58.
Mhm.
Board member number 1,
Mhm.
18 points,
Mhm.
then 21 points, 25 points, 14, for a total of 78.
Mhm.
Board member number 4,
Mhm.
5 points, and 15 points, 20 points, 10 points, for a total of 50.
Okay.
Board member number 3,
Mhm.
32 points, 25 points, 23 points, 14 points, for a total of 96.
Okay. Number 3, proposal 3. Do I go back to proposal 1, finish it up? Okay. Board member number 2.
Board member number 2, 0.
Proposal 1.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
15. 25. 15. For a total of 55. Board member number 5,
Mhm.
30. And 20. And 20. And 15. For a total of 80.
Okay. Proposal number 2, board member 5.
29. 20. 20. 15. For a total of 84.
Okay.
3.
Yep. Proposal 3.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Proposal 3, board member 3.
Okay.
32. 25. 23. 14. For a total of 94.
Yep.
Board member number 2,
Mhm.
10. 15. 20. I guess it's gonna be 15, couldn't tell if it was 10 or 15.
Okay.
So for a total of 60.
Yeah.
Board member number 5,
Yep.
30. 20. 21. 15. For a total of 86.
Yep.
Board member number 1
Yep.
is 18. 23. 21. 12. For a total of 74.
Okay.
Board member number 4 is 0. 15. 20. 5. For a total of 40.
Number 4.
Board member number 3 is 32. 25. 22. 12. For a total of 91.
Okay.
Board member number 2,
Mhm.
0. 25. 25. 15. For a total of 60.
Okay.
Board member number 5
Yep.
is 30. 19. 19. 14. For a total of 82.
Yep.
Board member number 1,
Yep.
16. 22. 22. 13. For 73.
Yep.
Board member number 4,
Yep.
5. 10. 20. 10. For a total of 45.
Okay. We've got a calculator handy.
We all do.
Okay.
What your teacher said, I was gonna have a calculator.
Okay, somebody want to add these numbers for me? 15 plus 22 plus 30 should be 67.
Mhm.
New numbers, 23 plus 15 plus 25 plus 15 plus 20. 98.
What did you get? Are you ready? 23, 15, 25, 15, and 20.
Is
I
your
just
still?
got, I just got 72, so.
I think this is,
38, 78, 98. 98.
yeah,
Okay, new numbers, 23, 25, 23, 15, and 20,
106.
and then 14, 15, 12, 10, 15.
66.
And we're gonna add together 67, 98, 106, and 66,
337.
337.
Mm-hmm.
Divide that by 5,
67.4.
67
4.
They're under 70, so they're out. Next one. 18 plus 10 plus 32 plus 5 plus 29.
94.
21 plus 20 plus 25 plus 15 plus 20.
101.
25 plus 18 plus 23 plus 20 plus 20. 6. 14 plus 10 plus 14 plus 10 plus 15.
63.
And we're gonna add 63 plus 106 plus 101 plus 94.
364.
Divided by 5,
72.8.
they're in. 18 plus 10 plus 32 plus 30.
90.
23 plus 15 plus 25 plus 15 plus 20.
98.
21 plus 20 plus 23 plus 20 plus 21.
105.
12 plus 15 plus 14 plus 5 plus 15.
61.
Okay, then we have 61 plus 105 plus 98 plus 90
354.
divided by 5.
70.8.
They're in. And the last one, 16 plus 0 plus 32 plus 5 plus 30.
83.
22 plus 25 plus 25 plus 10 plus 19.
101.
22 plus 25 plus 22 plus 20 plus 19.
108.
13 plus 15 plus 12 plus 10 plus 14.
64.
64 plus 108 plus 101 plus 83.
356.
356.
Divided by 5.
71.
Okay, so the first one, 67.4. And then ranking them, number 2 is 72.8, number 4 is 71.2, and number 3 was 70.8. If we want to interview or ask the 3 of them to submit a secondary proposal outlining costs, or do we want to interview them first? What do we want to do?
I think we should do costs first. I think that all of these are kind of a little.
I think for cost, though, they're going to need to know more of what we're.
They seem to be outside the scope of what I think, at least that I was originally looking for.
They're bigger.
They're
Well, the
gigantic.
first was clearly a very big organization. In looking at the others, it did look like, in two in particular, some of the examples they used were some very small. Was a high school, one of them was a high school. Yeah, there were smaller, they were all big companies. But I have a feeling they have the resources to do small or big. Was the feeling I got.
I think, yeah.
Number one, I think just
If we were gonna interview or ask them a question, I think I'd wanna ask, can you give us examples of small scale rural type?
that's why I think before we go to pricing, we probably want to meet with them and tell them really what we're looking for and let them come look at us.
Or, yeah, or can we provide them and say, we'd like to do an interview, we want to make sure it's worth their time, this is what we're looking.
How about I do that then? I'll reach out to these three since they're all pretty very close and say, thank you. We'd like to have further conversation, but before we ask for pricing, would you like to come? Give them the opportunity to come see what we're talking
Or even just talk, like, I would be comfortable with them talking.
Okay.
Give them a sense of what-
and then go from there with setting up. Yeah. Okay, because they want, we weren't real specific, but I mean, we clearly said we were the town of Rochester. If they Google searched us, they could have known that we're on 7.
Well, at least one had our logo in the.
That's true. But our logo was right there. All we had to do was cut and paste it. So,
It was in color.
yeah.
So number one is out.
Number one is out, and I quite frankly, I think they were too big for us. Yep. Well, actually, here, I'll just give those to you and I'll get copies from you tomorrow of
Perfect.
everything. So,
So, I mean, I think just to be clear, I think what we're asking for is we're a rural town.
Yeah.
We have these different buildings and we would like site and like what they were talking, some of them talked a little bit about their
Yeah.
methods, which were like to look at your policies and procedures and
so I think what I do is I contact the three of them and say, thank you for your interest. We would like to invite you to either come review our town or however they want to investigate it further. And say, we are a rural community and we're looking for security at our locations and over, because a number of them talk about cybersecurity and things like that as well. And
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, so. So is everybody okay with that? Comfortable with that? And then we'll see, they'll either say yes or no. If they're not really interested, they'll back out and they'll move on, or they'll do their due diligence and get back to us. Okay. I'll put a time frame on it of like a month. I'll email them all tomorrow and ask them to have something back to us within the month. That seem reasonable?
What do you guys gonna have back, like the actual pricing?
No, to find, to come, either come view or to tell us that they are interested in the next step.
Or talk to you? or
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
sense of-
But I mean, some of them may choose to come actually look at our buildings and come up with a proposal. Others,
Yeah, I think it would be okay to ask for a preliminary range.
Yeah.
Without doing the deep dive, without doing an estimate, because if they start coming back with $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year, obviously we're barking up the wrong tree. But if they go, hey, we're somewhere between 20 and 80,000.
well, I view this as a one and done. I
Okay,
don't view this as a long-term contract.
no kind of monitoring or anything.
I think they're coming in as a consultant, they're telling us, these are the things you need to do, and then we maintain it from there. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I don't see what benefit they're gonna do. I mean, maybe we keep it where they'll come in once a year and do a check kind of thing, but I don't see the need to be paying them on a monthly basis. I don't know what they're gonna offer us on a monthly basis.
Well, yeah, if we did anything, it might be like recurring training or something.
Yeah. I mean, one of them offered a lot of training opportunities.
Well, and one of our constables is certified to do a lot of those trainings, so we can't do them in-house to not have that recurring
Yep. Okay. I'll start from there and see where it goes. Thank you. So I got more applications from more people. Yeah, 4 more. And most of the people, there's 2 pages for each person. One is a resume and one is a letter of interest. So we now have, I don't think I brought my original one with me. What were we up to? Were we up to 12 after the first group? Amy? Do you know?
I think it was 12.
I think it's 16 now.
Oh, I had brought them, but, all right. Oh, no, I do have them right here. I think we have 16.
Then we've got either 16 or 17, one's a 2.
Well, 13. Did I not give Carl Cousins to somebody? Because I have 2 copies here. too. Carrie, sorry.
I have that.
You guys all have Carrie?
Wait, I might not, 'cause I got 15.
There you go.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I could get that one.
I definitely handed it to him.
Okay, I must have printed 6 out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we interview that many people. We're talking about 4 to 5 hours of interviews. So my question is, do you want to look through the list and narrow it down where we each pick our top 10 or something along those lines? Do we want to interview all 16 people? If we do, I would suggest we do that at our workshop meeting and then we try to start earlier. Because otherwise, we're going to be scheduling the last people at 11 o'clock at night. I'm open to whatever you guys want to do either way.
How many spots are on the
7.
7?
We can change that, but I don't know if there's a benefit to changing the number. I know we got a lot of interest, but I don't know if raising the number of committee members.
No, I was just wondering, make sure we interview enough in case we should,
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 interviews.
10
We have
stuck in
enough
my
options.
mind. You know, if we each picked our top 10, and we sort of rank them. And we may end up with 10, we may end up with 14 that we're.
I hate to say it, the only thing is we asked for letter of interest. We got letters of interest. And some is just simple as, hey, I'm interested.
Yeah,
And so you can't really make a decision.
Fair enough. fair enough. I'm okay if we interview everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah, the only problem is I don't know when we do it again. We do 8 at our workshop meeting and 8 at the audit meeting.
No, we have a public hearing scheduled in the audit meeting.
No,
No, not.
public
that.
hearing scheduled
It's
next.
next week, okay, that's what I couldn't remember.
We could do that, or we could do 12 and 4, or, 10 and 6.
We wouldn't do back-to-back months. We wouldn't do 2 audit meetings in a row. 8 meetings.
I'm afraid it's gonna eat up our audit meetings and everything else.
And it's probably better to like,
I'd rather
The
get, because
closer
that's
we
gonna, if we do it a month apart, that's gonna really drag this out.
I hate to say it too, is this something that we want to do in a board meeting, or is this something we break into a subcommittee and do on at a different time schedule?
Very good suggestion, and if it's only 2 board members, then you don't have to schedule it as a public meeting.
Or you could do it over the course of a week or 2,
Yeah.
You here, you there.
I'm open to suggestions, but for 16 people, it's time prohibitive to try to do it in one.
Mhm.
That's gonna take that, even if we started at 6 o'clock, that's gonna take that meeting till 10:30. And is it fair to that person that we're interviewing at 10:15 at night?
In our best laid intentions of 15 to 20 minutes, we always get interested in the
Yeah.
person, and they like to tell us about themselves.
well, in this one, I think in particular, these interviews are gonna go long because
I do too.
A lot of passion about what they do.
So what's the general consensus? We want to do some of them on the 13th and some at the audit meeting. I think that's probably the best way to go.
I think since we haven't had this problem before, we haven't addressed it, it's probably, in my mind, better to do it the way we normally do it, rather than, which is that we interview everyone.
Right, but with 2
And so,
different
yeah,
nights,
yeah.
with 2 different
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I don't think we should do it all in one.
Bear in mind,
I-
Adam is not gonna be at the meeting, but
I've heard that.
it's also his boss,
I can have a meeting in them.
so.
Have to be here.
So-
Thank you.
I'll do that then. I'll,
Interviews are in the executive session. So,
actually,
You could.
you could zoom in, just not participate. Mary Lou, oh, she's going. You could zoom in but not participate.
Mhm.
You could zoom in and listen if you wanted to.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be recording it. If you
Okay,
wanna
there you go.
listen to the recording.
because then if I don't see the first ones, I'm gonna be no use to anybody on the second.
What I'd like to do though is ask each of us to get one main question. And that be, whatever that question may be.
Tell me why you're passionate.
Should
about
we
farming.
coordinate on that? That way we don't come to the meeting with the same question.
Why don't we,
Send
why
out the
don't,
question.
why don't we try to get our questions figured out before next meeting? Before we meet next meeting, before we
Okay.
meet Tuesday.
Okay,
Should we send them to the candidate?
we could.
Hmm.
We
It
could,
would make it
There
go
you go.
faster.
That's smart.
we could. Okay, what I'll do is then I'll start to figure out who can come on the 13th, who can come on the, what is it, 27th.
We're gonna start the meetings earlier. To you, or,
Let's just leave it 6:30. And if we start bouncing around, because if we're only doing 8 people, starting at 6:30, we'll be done in theory in 2.5 hours.
just with the phone.
Yeah, but we, the workshop meeting, we don't have to do anything else. We could just do
We
it.
could just,
The bill paying, we gotta pay the bills. Which is why I was saying we do more on the 13th and less on.
okay.
Either I'll split it either 10 and 6 or even. If you want to change the meeting to 6, we can. I don't know.
No, that's fair.
It's
We-
tougher
we're
on
not gonna
Aaron.
have like a one
Now.
item agenda afterwards on totally okay with not moving it earlier?
No, because we're doing the meeting on the 15th,
Yeah.
and
so,
that's
okay.
gonna be,
The bulk of our, okay, then I'm fine with that. I just, you know.
That's a Thursday.
Yeah,
So-
I'm fine with that then.
and that's,
I just
I'll
don't
be,
wanna here
that's
till
part of
midnight.
why I wanted us to do, we did this now on the seeker, because now when that SHPO comes in, we got one question to answer. And then boom, we're done and we can move it on and schedule.
Fair enough, yeah, I just didn't want to.
Because unless SHPO comes back with, oh, it's really awful, we're at a neg deck. So, which is, okay,
All right.
so we'll do that. Okay, great, thank you. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
We can end the meeting,
The
right?
streaming
The
portion
streaming
of the
portion of the meeting. So for the people viewing, we have concluded the workshop portion of the audit meeting, and we will be auditing the bills. And so we are ending the streaming portion at this time.
Yeah. Come watch us.
Chair.
Just like.